Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're embarking on a really extraordinary journey, I think. A deep dive into some of the most, well, profound spiritual insights maybe ever articulated.
Hmm.
We're going beyond the surface, really delving into this ancient wisdom that, frankly, challenges our everyday perceptions of reality, self, and even what it means to be, enlightened.
And our sources today, they're not just texts, are they?
No,
Yeah.
exactly. They're direct transmissions of realization from revered masters. Specifically, we're looking at Longchen Rabjam and Natsok Rangdrol.
Right, and their words offer this really radical perspective on ultimate freedom. What's fascinating here, I find, is that these aren't like philosophical conjectures or some academic debate.
Not at all.
They are direct lived experiences being conveyed. It gives us this rare glimpse into a state of profound spiritual understanding that, well, it just transcends ordinary intellect, doesn't it?
It really does. These masters aren't just teaching concepts, they're declaring their realization. They're inviting us to consider a reality that's, frankly, far more expansive than we typically imagine.
Hmm. Declaring is a good word for it.
Yeah. And our mission here, for you, our listener, is really to extract the most important nuggets from these teachings. We want to present them in a way that resonates, whether you're encountering these ideas for the very first time,
Maybe just starting out.
or maybe you're just beginning your own spiritual practice, or perhaps you're already deeply immersed in spiritual exploration. We really aim to offer you a shortcut, I suppose, to being well-informed, maybe with some surprising facts, and hopefully just enough humor to keep you hooked.
Get ready for some serious aha moments, I'd say.
Definitely. Because we're starting right away with these powerful, almost audacious declarations from these masters. It's not abstract philosophy, is it?
No, it's a statement of lived experience, a declaration of ultimate freedom,
Hmm?
indeed. And what's truly captivating right from the outset is the immediate, direct assertion of a fully realized state.
Yeah, there's no preamble.
No, they don't start with a gradual buildup. They just present the pinnacle of spiritual understanding right away. This approach isn't merely theoretical, it's a report from the summit, you could say.
Right.
It sets a clear benchmark for what's genuinely possible for human consciousness. They're telling us, pretty unequivocally, that this state of ultimate freedom isn't just attainable, but it's inherently present. It's just waiting to be recognized.
And Longchen Rabjam kicks us off with this incredible declaration. It lays out a vision that's, well, it's a total paradigm shift from our ordinary way of seeing the world, he says. In the spacious expanse of the boundless, I, Longchen Rabjam, experience everything as permeated by blissful space, a single non-dual space. I mean, that's not just poetry, is it? It's a profound report from the depths of realization.
It truly is, and we should probably break that down because each word there is packed with meaning.
Okay.
When he says boundless, he's pointing to something without limits, beyond our usual conceptual categories of beginning or end, time or space.
So bigger than anything we can conceive of.
Pretty much. It's a dimension that utterly transcends our conventional understanding of existence. Then you have blissful space.
Which sounds lovely, but what does it mean?
Well, it's not just an empty void or some neutral absence. It's a space imbued with inherent joy, a feeling of profound, unconditioned well-being. It's like the very fabric of reality at this level is pure, unadulterated bliss.
Oh.
And then the real kicker, a single, non-dual space. This fundamentally challenges our ordinary dualistic perception of reality.
Okay, so dualistic meaning me versus the world.
Exactly. Typically, we experience a self as separate from an environment, an observer distinct from the observed. We have me and everything else.
A default setting.
Right. But Longchen Rabjam is describing a state where this fundamental separation simply isn't there. Everything, without exception, is permeated by this one unified, blissful space. It's an indivisible whole where the subject and object are ultimately one.
So, okay, let me see if I get this. It's like imagining a vast ocean, maybe?
No, that's a good analogy. Go on.
Well, you can see the waves on the surface, feel the currents, dive deep. All these things appear distinct, right? They have their own characteristics, movements. But fundamentally, every single part, every wave, every current, every depth, all of it is just water. It's all one substance, one reality.
Exactly. That captures it well.
So what Longchen Rabjam seems to be saying is that our entire reality, everything you perceive, every experience you have, is suffused with that kind of inherent joy and unity, that single, non-dual essence.
That's the idea.
It's almost unimaginable from our normal state of perceived separation, isn't it? But what if? What if our entire operating system of reality was pure, unconditioned bliss? How might that fundamentally alter your experience of life?
It's a profound question, and Natsok Rangdrol, he echoes this profound realization with his own declaration. It gives a slightly different angle, perhaps, but equally radical perspective. He says, I, Natsok Rangdrol, have reached the culmination of natural freedom, where phenomena dissolve.
Phenomena dissolve, okay.
And he adds, beautifully describing the state, the unwavering, spontaneous presence, the summit of my beautiful goal.
Natural freedom, that phrase. It stands out. It implies a liberation that isn't conditioned by effort, doesn't need to be earned or acquired, but is somehow inherent. Like it's already there, maybe waiting to be recognized, like sunlight behind the clouds.
Yeah.
What makes this natural as opposed to, say, achieved freedom?
That's a crucial distinction. Natural freedom implies this unconditioned, inherent liberty that isn't created through effort, but recognized as the fundamental, always present state of our being.
Yeah.
It's a liberation that is intrinsic, not extrinsic. It suggests we are already free, fundamentally, but we just haven't realized it because of, well, obscurations.
Clouds, like I said.
Exactly, clouds. And when Natsok Rangdrol says phenomena dissolve, it's really important to understand this isn't about your cup of coffee literally vanishing into thin air.
Right, I figured not.
Rather, it means that their perceived independent existence dissolves.
The way we see them changes.
Precisely. We tend to reify things, meaning we treat appearances as solid, separate, permanent entities with some inherent self-existence. In this realized state, that perceived solidity, permanence, and separation dissolve into a more fundamental, unified reality. Think of it like watching a dream.
Okay.
While you're in the dream, the characters, objects, situations feel incredibly real and solid, don't they? You might feel intense emotions.
Definitely.
But upon waking, you instantly realize that none of those phenomena had independent existence. They were just appearances within the field of your mind.
Right, just mental stuff.
In a similar way, for the realized master, the world of waking phenomena is recognized as appearing within a larger non-dual awareness, without their own solid, separate essence. And the unwavering, spontaneous presence that highlights that this isn't some fleeting peak experience, but a stable, constant, and effortless state of being.
Effortless.
It's not something you do or generate, it's something that is. This state, which Natsok Rangdrol refers to as the Dharmakaya, the absolute body of enlightenment, is always already there, just waiting to be recognized rather than constructed through laborious effort or practice. As he puts it, he reached the essence of enlightenment beyond ordinary consciousness.
So if this is the ultimate goal, the state of Dharmakaya, where he's reached the essence of enlightenment, beyond ordinary consciousness, what does that actually look like? In terms of our perception, how does this profound state actually frame our understanding of the world we inhabit and, our inner experience? These masters, they offer this unique way of mapping our reality, breaking it down into three spaces that ultimately point to one unified truth.
Yes, and this framework is incredibly helpful, I think, for us to grasp how the ultimate reality encompasses every level of our experience, from our external sensory world right down to our deepest awareness. It's not about escaping or denying parts of our reality, but rather about understanding their true nature and how they interrelate within a larger unified field. It gives a really comprehensive view that integrates everything.
Okay, so the first one they describe is the external space of sensual appearances. Our sources tell us it's vast as the highest and timeless empty state without any underlying basis. What does it mean for our external world, everything we see, hear, touch, taste, to be described in such, radical terms, without any underlying basis?
Yeah, those phrases, timeless, empty, and without any underlying basis, are crucial because they directly challenge our ingrained assumption that external objects possess inherent solidity and permanence.
Like this desk is solid.
Exactly. When we look at a tree or a house or the desk, we naturally assume it has a fixed, independent existence, a solid thingness. But what this teaching suggests is that these sensory inputs are seen purely as appearances, as manifestations, like reflections in a mirror or clouds in the sky. They don't have a solid, fixed essence of their own that exists independently of mind or perception. Think of it this way. A cloud formation might appear incredibly solid and distinct in the sky, right? But if you try to grasp it, there's nothing there.
Right, just vapor.
It's a temporary aggregation of moisture, a display that arises and dissolves without a solid, independent core. Similarly, Our external world is seen as this vibrant, dynamic display of appearances that arise and dissolve within the vastness of space, rather than a collection of inherently existing self-sufficient objects.
So if our external world has no independent basis, how does that change your relationship with it?
Well, it implies a kind of radical fluidity to reality, doesn't it? A profound interconnectedness that we often miss when we compartmentalize and reify everything. This understanding can lead to less grasping, perhaps, and a deeper appreciation for the impermanent beauty of all phenomena.
That makes sense. It's a shift from seeing fixed objects to seeing dynamic, luminous appearances.
Okay.
Then there's the internal space of mental activity. This is described as simply spacious, as the highest naturally pure state in which thoughts leave no trace. So thoughts, emotions, memories, all the chatter of our minds, they're understood in a new way here too.
Exactly. The phrase naturally pure state is key. It means that thoughts, even the negative or distracting ones, are not inherently defiling or contaminating to the mind's fundamental nature.
So the mind itself stays pure, regardless of the thought.
That's the idea. The essence of mind remains pure regardless of what passes through it, and thoughts leave no trace. That's a powerful image. It means thoughts arise, they can be vivid and compelling, but then they pass without clinging, without creating lasting imprints or obscuring the mind's fundamental clarity.
Like writing on water.
Exactly like words written on the surface of water. They appear, they convey a temporary meaning, but then they vanish without a trace, leaving the water pristine, completely unaffected and unblemished. Or think about a clear mirror. Images appear in it, beautiful ones, ugly ones, maybe terrifying ones, but the mirror itself remains untainted and unchanged by those images. Wow. This teaching encourages a simile recognition of the mind's natural purity. It allows thoughts to arise and pass without attachment or aversion, without taking them to be ultimately real or solid.
And finally, we have the secret space of awakened awareness, described as vast as the naked, unobstructed state. That word naked really stands out. What does it imply here?
This secret space is often described as the very core, the essence of our being, our foundational awareness. Naked implies it's uncovered, unadorned, free from all conceptual overlays, veils, or artificial constructs that we usually impose upon our experience.
So just raw awareness.
Pretty much. Awareness in its raw, unconditioned state, prior to any labeling or interpretation. And unobstructed means pure, unhindered awareness, free from any limitations, blockages, or dualistic distinctions. It's the luminous, empty ground from which everything arises and into which everything dissolves. The ever-present clarity that underlies all experience. It's the profound foundational awareness that is always already present, regardless of what external or internal phenomena are appearing.
Which contrasts sharply with how we usually perceive ourselves as this limited, defined ego.
Right.
But what's truly profound, though, is that these three spaces, the external, internal, and secret, they're not seen as separate compartments, are they?
No, not at all.
Our sources say, this trinity dwells as uncreated natural presence. And then Longchen Rabjam makes this astonishing declaration, which really encapsulates the non-dual essence.
This is a big one.
He says, space of samsara is initially pure, and there's no need to exit it, and nirvana is already spontaneously present, and there's no need to attain it all, is encompassed by the blissful space of awareness of the non-duality of samsara and nirvana, a single space of awareness.
Wow.
I mean, this completely upends our usual spiritual goals, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. The phrase uncreated natural presence is vital because it underscores that this ultimate state isn't manufactured or constructed, it's inherent.
It's not something you build.
No. It's something you recognize as already existing as the fundamental reality of yourself and everything. And the radical implication of non-duality between samsara and nirvana, that's truly transformative.
Just remind us quickly samsara is.
Samsara broadly refers to the cycle of suffering, rebirth, and conditioned existence driven by delusion and karma. Nirvana is the state of liberation, enlightenment, freedom from that cycle.
Opposites, basically.
That's our usual understanding, one to escape, the other to attain, polar opposites. But this teaching declares them to be two sides of the very same coin of awareness.
How so?
Well, there's no need to escape samsara because, at its core, it is initially pure, meaning it arises from and is permeated by the same pure awareness as nirvana. And there's no need to attain nirvana because it is already spontaneously present, always available.
So our suffering in samsara isn't because reality is flawed.
According to this, no. It's due to our misperception of reality, our clinging to appearances as solid, separate, and inherently existent. When that misperception dissolves, what remains is the pure, liberated state. Longchen Rabjam, whom the text identifies as a yogin of this exalted spiritual approach, says he realized this in all its nakedness and natural clarity.
Nakedness again.
Yes, it's a direct recognition that all phenomena, including our suffering, are just manifestations of this single, blissful, non-dual space.
So what does this all mean for us? If there's no need to do anything, if samsara is already pure and nirvana already present, how do we even approach this? It sounds like there's nothing to actually do. And here's where it gets really interesting, because the masters directly challenge our conventional notions of spiritual striving and practice. They tell us there's nothing to do.
Right.
This must be one of the most provocative aspects of these teachings.
It is, and this section is absolutely crucial for understanding the profound shift in perspective these teachings offer. For many of us, spiritual paths are synonymous with effort, discipline, striving for a goal.
Yeah, hard work.
Right. But this teaching isn't about being lazy or passive. It's about recognizing the fundamental nature of reality that renders conventional effort, striving, grasping, unnecessary.
Because what you're seeking is already here.
Exactly. It's already the essence of who you are. The effort, ironically, often comes from our inability to simply be.
Our sources say the achieved is the always present state, which is the true nature of phenomena and with which nothing needs to be done, and it promises full freedom from the limitations of dualistic perception, hopes, and fears. So if enlightenment is already the case, then all our trying to get there is, in a way, a distraction.
This is a truly radical statement, isn't it? It overturns so much of what we're taught about self-improvement, spiritual growth. If enlightenment or liberation is always present, then any striving to get it is fundamentally based on a misunderstanding. The misunderstanding that it's absent or separate from you. That very striving reinforces the illusion of separation. And think about how much of our lives are driven by hoping for a better future or fearing a worse one.
Constantly.
We plan, we strategize, we exert immense energy, all based on these dualistic perceptions of gain and loss, desirable and undesirable outcomes. If there's truly nothing to attain and nothing to avoid at the ultimate level, then those foundational motivators just dissolve. It liberates us from their relentless grip. Natsok Rangdrol recounts, after his ordinary consciousness fell away and phenomena dissolved, he just starts laughing at the experience.
Laughing.
A laugh of pure recognition, not of effort achieved. Just,
That's powerful. To be so free from the constant push and pull of hopes and fears. And the practical advice, if you can call it that, for how to live in this state is equally radical. If meditating happens, that's what it is. If something else happens, that's what it is. If something is undertaken, that's what it is. If nothing is undertaken, that's what it is. For me, there are no frames of reference. There is no, it is like this. This sounds like a complete suspension of judgment and expectation.
It perfectly illustrates the depth of this non-judgmental acceptance of all experience. It transcends our usual conditioned categories of good, bad, right, wrong, appropriate, inappropriate.
This is.
It implies a state of being completely at ease with whatever arises without the mind imposing labels, evaluations, or judgments. There's an unshakable equanimity. Imagine a painter looking at their palette. They don't judge the blue as good and the red as bad.
No, they're just colors.
They simply allow the colors to be as they are, recognizing their nature and potential without imposing an inherent value on them. Similarly, in this realized state, every experience, every thought, every sensation is simply, that's what it is. No clinging, no pushing away, just a natural allowance. This natural presence, this absolute liberation requires no contrived actions or mental gymnastics. It just is.
And this approach, it leads to some truly provocative statements about spiritual practice itself, which might initially seem to contradict everything we've ever learned about meditation and spiritual striving.
Right, this is where it can feel confusing.
The masters declare, no necessity to meditate, for there's nothing to meditate on. To meditate means to ignore it. No necessity to practice view, for there's nothing to see. No necessity in searching, for there's nothing to search for. For someone new to these ideas, this can sound almost like an abandonment of any spiritual path, can't it?
It really can. These are, indeed, incredibly provocative statements, especially for those accustomed to traditional spiritual paths that emphasize rigorous practice, focused meditation, cultivating specific views.
All the doing.
All the doing. But it's absolutely crucial to understand the context here. This isn't a rejection of meditation or inquiry itself. It's a profound rejection of striving with a goal in mind. mind when the goal, enlightenment, is already inherently present.
So the striving is the problem.
In a sense, yes. By trying to focus on something to achieve a state through meditation, one might actually be missing the vast, open, ever-present awareness that is the true object, or rather the true subject, of recognition. The phrase "to meditate means to ignore it" is brilliant, isn't it? It implies that by narrowly focusing on an object or a technique, you might be overlooking the boundless, fundamental awareness that contains the meditation itself.
Like looking for your glasses when they're on your head.
Exactly. The search itself, based on a mistaken belief of absence, prevents immediate recognition. These teachings point to a direct, effortless recognition of awareness, rather than a method to manipulate the mind into a certain state. It's about letting go of the doing to simply be, allowing the inherent wisdom to shine through.
So this truly reframes our understanding of spiritual practice, doesn't it? Does it, like, liberate us from the pressure of doing it right or constantly evaluating our progress?
That's a huge part of it.
Because it sounds like the very self that's doing the practice dissolves too. The sources say, whatever it may be, merely a manifestation of unobstructedness itself. However I look at it, I am the content itself, for the essence of enlightenment is discovered as the boundless expanse of pure space. So the self isn't a separate observer, but part of the observed, part of the content itself.
That's precisely the insight. The self is not seen as a separate entity observing, judging, or performing actions. Instead, the self is the fundamental nature of the experience itself, the boundless awareness.
Ah, okay.
It connects directly back to that single, non-dual space Longchen Rabjam spoke of right at the beginning. The conventional distinction between observer and observed merges into one undifferentiated field of experience. When you truly realize this, you are no longer limited by the artificial division of samsara and nirvana, of self and other. As our source beautifully puts it, I am the content itself.
Wow.
There is no separate I trying to attain something, because the I is already the very essence of that which is sought.
Okay. If the self and all phenomena are so fluid, so unobstructed, what then is the true nature of the world we perceive? If our perceptions aren't solid, not independently existing, then what is the nature of reality? These teachings offer these powerful analogies to help us grasp this, right? To see through the illusion of solidity that our minds so readily create.
Yes, and this section is absolutely critical because it explains why the masters speak of phenomena dissolving. It's not about denying our experience or saying things don't exist at all.
No negation.
No. Rather, it's about seeing through the superficial appearance of solidity to the underlying truth of their ephemeral, insubstantial nature. It's about understanding how they exist, as vivid appearances within awareness rather than as concrete, independent entities.
And they use the analogy of reflections, which is quite vivid. Contemplating reflections in a pond, realize that all sorts of things are mere appearances and have no independent existence. Like illusions, a mirage, the moon's reflection in water, they merely appear real, not existing as such. What can each of those specific analogies tell us? Reflections, mirage, moon and water.
They're incredibly precise, actually, and they illuminate the subtle nature of appearances. Take the reflection in a pond. You can clearly see the image of a tree or a cloud. It has form, color. You can identify it. It appears real.
But you can't grab it.
Exactly. If you try to grasp it, there's nothing there. It lacks inherent substance.
Yeah.
A mirage on a hot road is even more compelling. It looks exactly like water, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It can create a sense of longing or relief, but as you approach, it vanishes, revealing nothing but dry road. A powerful illusion.
Right.
And the moon's reflection in water, it's beautiful. It seems to embody the moon itself, but it is, of course, not the moon. The reflection is dependent on the moon, the water, the light. If any of those conditions change, the reflection changes or disappears.
So they're all dependent, not independent.
Precisely. Each analogy powerfully illustrates that phenomena are vivid, compelling, even tangible to our senses, but they lack inherent intrinsic existence. This doesn't deny their appearance or their function in our relative world, but it denies their ultimate independent reality. It's much like a dream, which feels incredibly real and solid while you're in it. It can cause joy, fear, sadness.
Definitely.
But upon waking, you instantly realize its complete lack of inherent reality, its dreamlike nature. Recognizing this about waking life phenomena is the core insight here.
Okay, so if that's the nature of things, that everything is like a vivid reflection or a dream, how do we practice or rest in this true state? Given the earlier point about not doing anything, it sounds paradoxical.
It does seem like a paradox.
But The sources actually provide some practical guidance, don't they? A kind of how-to of non-doing. It says, having come to this realization, sit upright and comfortably on a spacious seat, and with the intention of bringing benefit to sentient beings, meditate on the consciousness of enlightenment. Then, do not follow thoughts of the past, do not generate thoughts of the future, free current sensory perception from conceptual elaborations. And finally, contemplate unshaken, initiating nothing, stopping nothing, remain in freedom, clarity, immediacy, and vividness, and emptiness and clarity, and freedom from evaluation. It sounds like specific instructions. How do we reconcile this with nothing to do?
This is where we bridge that apparent paradox. This isn't about forcing a state or achieving something through effort. It's more about resting in the natural, already present state by gently letting go of our habitual mental grasping and elaborations.
Letting go.
Yes. When the text says, do not follow thoughts of the past or do not generate thoughts of the future, it's not instructing us to, suppress thoughts.
Which is impossible anyway.
Pretty much. Instead, it's about allowing them to arise and pass without engaging with them, without getting caught in their narratives, without giving them the energy of our attention. They're like clouds passing in the sky. You don't chase them, but you also don't try to make them disappear. And free current sensory perception from conceptual elaborations, that means experiencing sounds, sights, sensations, even emotions directly in their raw, immediate form, without immediately imposing labels, stories, judgments, or interpretations on them.
Just letting them be.
Exactly. This allows the mind to rest in its natural, open clarity.
And it beautifully emphasizes doing this with the intention of bringing benefit to sentient beings. So this profound realization isn't some selfish, isolating pursuit.
Not at all. Compassion, what's known as bodhicitta in many traditions, is seen as an inherent, unconditioned quality of this awakened awareness. So this radical redefinition of meditation is crucial. It's not an action to achieve a goal, but a non-action, a natural resting in awareness. It's about allowing the mind to be in its natural state, which is already free and clear.
Right.
The instruction to remain in freedom, clarity, immediacy, and vividness, and emptiness and clarity, and freedom from evaluation, that's the essence. This freedom from evaluation is absolutely key here. Simply experience what is without judgment, without categorization, without preference, the state of direct, unadulterated perception, free from the mind's incessant efforts to categorize and label. That's truly the vision of all Buddhas.
So even without doing, in the conventional sense, there's a powerful way to be that leads to this realization. And this state of non-evaluation, this effortless awareness, it offers a unique pathway to liberation, doesn't it? Especially when we think about our inner world of emotions and thoughts. So what happens when those strong emotions like joy or suffering arise? Do we just ignore them, suppress them, try to think them away? That's what many of us habitually do.
And this section reveals the profound power of not interfering with what arises. It's a truly radical reframe of how we typically deal with our inner experiences, whether they're pleasant or unpleasant. The teaching states, what appears as something is not an essence to be rejected or accepted. Therefore, there is nothing to evaluate and attribute.
Okay. Our habit when an emotion or thought arises is to immediately label it, this is good, this is bad, I like this, I don't like this.
Instantly.
And then based on that judgment, we either grasp at it, wanting it to stay, or we push it away, wanting it to go. This constant cycle of craving and aversion, it seems to be the root of a lot of our suffering.
Exactly. This teaching suggests that the thing itself, whether it's a thought, an emotion, a perception, has no inherent essence to be reacted to in that way. We project goodness or badness onto it. It's like a child playing in the dark, remember? They see shadows on the wall, mistake them for real monsters.
Right.
The monster isn't real, but the fear it generates is very real to the child. The solution isn't to fight the shadow or even to intellectualize it away, but to understand its true nature, just a play of light and form. When that understanding dawns, the fear naturally dissolves.
So understand the nature of the emotion or thought rather than fighting it.
Something like that. Similarly, when consciousness itself is understood as unborn, meaning it has no beginning, no fixed point, no inherent creation, we're advised, do not get bogged down in intellectual investigation of the unborn.
Don't overthink it.
Right. The teaching is fundamentally experiential. Don't get lost in philosophical concepts about it. The point is the direct experience. When this understanding comes, the text says, certainty is gained that enlightenment refers only to the space of consciousness itself. It's a recognition.
So enlightenment isn't a state to be achieved, but a recognition of the inherent unborn nature of awareness itself.
That's the core message.
And this leads to the incredibly powerful concept of instantaneous self-liberation, which seems to offer a direct path out of suffering. It says, whatever arises in your consciousness, joy, sorrow, happiness, or suffering, if it is not evaluated as such, it liberates itself.
Yeah.
There are no other antidotes. This is instant liberation, as there is no before and after.
This is truly one of the most direct and powerful teachings on freedom from suffering you will encounter. The core idea, non-evaluation, is the liberation.
Just not judging it.
By not clinging, judging, or reacting to what arises, whether it's a surge of joy or a wave of sorrow, the experience is simply allowed to pass through awareness without taking root, without building a narrative, and without causing suffering. It liberates itself because we are not holding on to it. And the phrase "no before and after" is crucial here. It means that each moment of experience is fresh, new, unconditioned by the previous moment's reaction.
So no building up of negative patterns.
Exactly. There's no causal chain of suffering built from past judgments leading to present clinging. If you don't evaluate, you don't create the cause for future suffering from that moment. It breaks the cycle instantaneously. Suffering persists because of our engagement with the phenomena or clinging, aversion, judgment, not because of the phenomena themselves. Imagine the profound freedom of releasing yourself from a perpetual narrative of suffering, a story built on past reactions.
How much energy do we spend trying to fix our emotions,
Yeah.
to change them or make them go away? What if simply allowing them to be without judgment, without engaging with the story they tell? What if that was the key?
It's a radical proposition.
And when this happens, something even more profound occurs, according to the text. The contemplator is lost in contemplation. He vanishes naturally in the absence of conceptual elaborations. Both the seeker and the objects of acceptance and rejection dissolve. So, if the contemplator and the objects both vanish, who is left? Who is experiencing this liberation?
This highlights the ultimate dissolution of dualism, the very subject-object split that defines our ordinary experience. When there's no evaluation, no clinging, no striving, the distinction between the observer, the contemplator, seeker, and the observed, the objects of acceptance and rejection, simply breaks down.
They merge.
Vanish. The self that strives, the I that judges, the separate entity we usually take ourselves to be, and the object that is judged or sought, both, vanish into pure, undifferentiated awareness. There's no longer a me doing the contemplating, just contemplation happening, just awareness being aware.
Wow, pure presence without an agent.
Exactly. And this dissolution naturally leads us to the ultimate state, the absolute body, where everything is fundamentally free and undefinable.
So, if the seeker and the objects dissolve, what is left?
Yeah.
What is this ultimate reality these teachings are pointing towards? This is where they reveal the absolute boundless nature of reality, right? Transcending all our usual categories.
This is truly the zenith of our deep dive, I think. It presents a reality that transcends all our usual categories of existence, action, identity, even time. It's truly what the tradition refers to as natural great perfection.
Natural great perfection.
A state that is self-present, unconditioned, and utterly beyond our conventional grasp or conceptualization.
Okay. The sources describe this ultimate state as, having come to a vision inseparable from space, one obtains the state of the absolute body, present in itself. Whatever manifests it is fundamentally free, like a clear sky. The absolute body, or dharmakaya. What does this mean for my identity, my sense of self, if everything is like a clear sky?
Well, the absolute body, or dharmakaya, it's not a physical body in any sense we understand. It is the ultimate reality itself, the primordial ground of being. Inherent and self-present, luminous and empty, it's the pure potentiality from which all phenomena arise. The analogy of the clear sky is perfect and profound. Phenomena like clouds appear and disappear within it.
Right, weather happens.
Sometimes they are fluffy and beautiful, sometimes dark and stormy, sometimes they completely obscure the sun. But the sky itself remains unstained, vast, and fundamentally free. It's utterly unaffected by the clouds passing through it.
So if our own fundamental nature is like this clear sky,
It means our true identity is vast, unchanging, and pure, regardless of the clouds of thoughts, emotions, and experiences passing through it. It challenges us to see ourselves not as a limited, fluctuating ego, but as this boundless, unobstructed awareness that is the very essence of everything.
and this state implies a kind of ultimate freedom, where there is no that to which one can deviate from this natural state. Since there is no reification, it is freedom from negation and acceptance, from clinging to anything whatsoever. Freedom from coming and going has been attained. Where to go now? Nowhere. The achievement of this state is freedom from objects of delusion and no one to return to samsaric cities. Nowhere to go. That truly challenges our fundamental sense of purpose, our spiritual journey, our constant striving for a destination.
Indeed, it challenges the very paradigm of a journey with a beginning and an end. This describes the ultimate freedom. There is no longer a separate place or state to go to, nothing to attain, nothing to escape, because the goal was always already the starting point, the inherent nature of reality itself.
And no reification is key again.
Critical. It means not treating appearances as solid, independent things, which is a root of our suffering and clinging. When that reification ceases, the mind is utterly free from the need to accept or reject anything. That leads to an absolute freedom from coming and going.
So if there's no going or coming,
then nowhere is the precise answer to where to go now. It means the sense of a separate self migrating through different states of existence or returning to samsaric cities dissolves.
so our sense of purpose shifts.
Dramatically.
Yeah.
From trying to attain something that's absent to simply manifesting or abiding in this inherent freedom. The journey ends not by reaching a destination, but by realizing you were always already there.
This raises an important question, though. If there's nowhere to go, what does that mean for our everyday activity? Does it negate all action or responsibility? It's not about becoming numb or unaware, is it?
Not at all.
Because the masters use these striking analogies to describe this state of non-conceptual perception. Whatever manifests, I am like a drunkard, not evaluating it at all. I do not recognize things as such, like an infant. These are very vivid images.
They are vivid, and they highlight a state that transcends ordinary conceptualization and judgment, but without implying dullness or ignorance. A drunkard might see what's in front of them, they perceive the world, but their usual mental framework for categorizing, analyzing, holding on to things, it's suspended. They're not engaging in the usual mental acrobatics. Similarly, an infant perceives the world directly, purely, prior to the overlay of labels, concepts, preconceived notions that adults impose.
It's like seeing color for the first time.
Exactly. They see colors, shapes, sounds with fresh, unadulterated awareness without immediately assigning meaning or judgment. So it's not about being ignorant or dulled, it's about seeing reality directly, purely, prior to intellectualization and the mind's incessant chatter. For this realized consciousness, all activity, all manifestation is seen as sameness, naturalness, openness, and purposelessness. All this is the same since there is no evaluation.
No evaluation again.
Right. There's no striving for a specific outcome because the ultimate purpose is already realized in the inherent perfection of the present moment.
This brings us to the very heart essence of awareness, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What these teachings call the natural great perfection itself. And this is where things get truly radical.
Possibly the most radical part.
The sources say, in the heart essence awareness itself, there is nothing to improve, so good actions bring no benefit. Nothing to worsen, so bad actions bring no harm. No karmic causality, therefore no inevitable happiness or suffering. There's no better or worse, so no rejection of samsara and acceptance of nirvana. No way to think about this essence or express it, so no liberation from such attempts. No before and after, so sequence of lived lives is just a label.
Hugh.
I mean, this truly turns everything on its head. It seems to upend all morality, all spiritual effort, all sense of consequence. How can good actions bring no benefit and bad actions no harm? This must be the most challenging aspect of these teachings for many listeners.
You've absolutely hit on the most challenging and perhaps most liberating aspect. This is indeed the radical core of the natural great perfection concept. Now, it's crucial, absolutely crucial, to understand that this statement is describing the ultimate nature of awareness, the absolute perspective. It is not advocating for an abandonment of ethical conduct on the relative conventional level of existence.
Okay, that's important. So does it mean run riot?
Not at all. On the relative level, in our day-to-day lives, actions absolutely have consequences. Compassion and ethical behavior are essential for the well-being of ourselves and others. That doesn't change. But at the absolute level, in the heart essence of awareness itself, which is primordially pure and perfect, all conventional distinctions of good, bad, cause-effect, samsara, nirvana simply collapse.
Aye.
Because in that ultimate unconditioned space, there is nothing to add and nothing to subtract. Therefore, from that perspective, good actions don't improve it, and bad actions don't worsen it because it is already perfect.
Yeah.
Similarly, if the heart essence is beyond all conditioning, then karmic causality, the law of cause and effect that governs our relative experiences of happiness and suffering, also doesn't apply at that ultimate level.
Like the sky and the weather.
Exactly like the clear sky itself is not affected by the weather passing through it. It doesn't mean the weather isn't happening or doesn't have effects on the ground. And if there's no before or after in this essence, then our linear understanding of time, causality, even the sequence of lived lives or reincarnation, it gets recontextualized.
Yeah.
It's seen as merely a label that we apply to experience, a mental construct within the vastness of awareness.
Just a label.
This challenges the very fabric of our understanding of morality, spiritual progress, personal identity. It points to a profound freedom from all conditioning, a reality that is complete in itself.
This truly does turn everything on its head. If our sequence of lived lives is just a label, how can something be preserved forever? How can someone move through samsara if these distinctions are just labels? The deeper we go, the more everything we thought we knew about reality seems to dissolve. And that leads to this idea of the undefinable nature of all phenomena. Undefinable phenomena arise as natural manifestations of awareness. Their undeterminable nature, free from complexity, is the natural great perfection. And this is where it gets quite sophisticated, with what's called the fourfold negation.
Exactly. The source states, since they have neither existence nor non-existence, one cannot assert that they both exist and do not exist, nor can one assert the opposite.
Okay, break that down. Neither exist nor don't exist, nor both, nor neither.
It's a profound philosophical point, known in Buddhist logic as the katuku, the fourfold negation. It means phenomena cannot be definitively placed into any of our usual categories of existence.
Why not?
Well, they don't inherently exist because they're empty of fixed essence, nor do they not exist because they clearly appear. Therefore, you cannot logically assert that they both exist and do not exist, nor can you assert the opposite, neither exist nor do not exist. Their undeterminable nature is key. It's not nihilism, saying they don't exist at all. It's a transcendence of our conceptual categories of existence and non-existence.
So they're just beyond definition.
They are a non-ceasing display of awareness, a vivid, dynamic play, but they cannot be pinned down as an independent, solid thing that we can conceptually grasp. Reality isn't just complex. It actively defies all our attempts to pin it down with concepts, definitions, and labels. It's an unimagined expanse, beyond causality and any deliberate efforts. This means the world isn't a problem to be solved, perhaps, but a display to be recognized for what it is.
Okay. If everything is so open and undefinable, if our ultimate nature is already perfect, why do we still experience suffering? What's the practical takeaway for our daily lives from such profound yet often challenging wisdom? This brings us full circle, doesn't it? Connecting this profound wisdom back to the human condition and the ultimate motivation for these teachings, compassion.
Absolutely. This is where the rubber meets the road, where profound philosophy meets the raw reality of human experience. And the sources directly address this, they say. Though the nature of phenomena is initially pure, the immature, not realizing the essence that there is nothing to accept and nothing to reject, remain imprisoned by attachment to their various ideas and opinions.
Imprisoned by ideas.
And the source then powerfully laments. What ignorance to believe in a limited self when there is only the undefinable. How exhausting it is to impose non-existent limits.
Oh, that really hits home because we all experience this imprisonment to our beliefs and identity, don't we? Suffering arises not necessarily from external circumstances themselves, but from our internal mental habit of clinging.
Clinging to specific ideas, opinions, a fixed, limited sense of self.
Thereby imposing limits on what is, in truth, limitless. We spend so much energy defining ourselves, our experiences, the world around us, and that very act of rigid definition, that reification, creates the suffering.
It's the effort of maintaining an artificial boundary.
Exhausting, like the text says.
Precisely. We exhaust ourselves by perpetually constructing and defending a limited identity and a fixed world when the reality is boundless and fluid. And this understanding, far from leading to indifference, naturally leads to profound compassion. The source beautifully asks, those endlessly wandering in samsara, do they not deserve compassion?
Right.
The realization of the illusory nature of suffering and a fixed self naturally expands one's capacity for empathy and wishing well-being for all beings caught in these self-imposed limitations.
So when you see that suffering is rooted in a fundamental misunderstanding, a misperception of reality,
your heart naturally goes out to those who are still entangled. This demonstrates that genuine spiritual realization is never selfish. It inherently expands one's capacity for empathy and wishing well-being for others. It becomes the natural outflow of realizing the interconnected, non-dual nature of everything.
And Longchen Rabjam offers this incredibly powerful wish, doesn't he? A master's vow for enlightenment, demonstrating the boundless nature of this compassion.
It's truly moving.
He says, "May all who are irritated or trusting in me, all who revile or praise me, all who follow me, may I quickly lead them to enlightenment."
Hmm.
I mean, that's an incredible, non-discriminatory compassion that transcends personal preferences or reactions.
It absolutely does. This vow transcends personal likes or dislikes, all dualistic judgments of friend or foe, admirer or critic. It expresses a universal aspiration for the liberation of all beings, regardless of their individual reaction to the teacher or their apparent worth.
It makes no difference how they treat him.
None. It's the ultimate expression of the enlightened mind's boundless generosity. It demonstrates that true compassion makes no distinctions based on relative merits or interactions. It's a pure, unconditioned wish for the well-being of all, born from the profound understanding of their ultimate inherent freedom. It recognizes that beneath all the transient interactions, every being possesses this very same pure, perfect nature.
Wow. What an incredible deep dive today into these profound teachings of natural freedom and the essence of enlightenment.
It really covers some ground.
We've explored the boundless blissful space, the non-duality of samsara and nirvana, and the radical idea that genuine liberation comes not from striving, but from an effortless recognition of what already is. We've seen how our perceived world, our thoughts, and our very selves are like reflections, vivid but lacking independent existence, and that by letting go of evaluation and clinging, we can experience instant liberation from suffering.
It's really about realizing that what we perceive as solid, separate, and permanent is, at its core, undefinable, a non-ceasing display of awareness. The natural great perfection isn't something to be created, achieved, or even fully understood, conceptually perhaps, but rather the intrinsic, unconditioned nature of awareness itself, always present, always whole, always complete.
So if we truly take these teachings to heart, recognizing that our ultimate nature is undefinable, beyond categories of existence or non-existence, then the question for you, our listener, becomes, what does it mean for you to realize that the natural great perfection is not some far-off goal, not a destination on a map, but the very essence of your being, waiting to be seen right now in this moment? How might this shift your understanding of effort, purpose, and the endless search for meaning that often defines our lives?
That's a powerful question to sit with.
It really is. Something truly worth contemplating as you go about your day.